So this is that priest. I just did 2 videos about Charles Chiniquy, who left, but he was in the Catholic Church. Here's these specific things I just said a couple days ago too. It gives me the chills. This is going back to like 1890. If you saw my other 2 videos, not that anybody sees my videos. Let me see. But he was a Catholic priest for 50 years. He was specific about what the Vatican was doing to America. He said the Catholic Church, he accused them of being pagan and its theology anti-Christian, no doubt there. He insisted that Catholics worship the Virgin Mary, which he considered idolatry, absolutely. I think we all know that. He accused Catholic leaders, including bishops, of corruption, theft, and immoral behavior. He alleged that there were plots by the Vatican to take control of the United States by importing Catholic immigrants from Ireland, Germany, and France. What do you know? Chiniquy claimed that the Vatican was behind significant historical events, including the Civil War, the Confederate cause, and Lincoln's assassination, suggesting that Lincoln's assassins were priests that were serving Pope Pius IV. He said that the Vatican had plans to take political control of the U.S. by encouraging Catholic immigration from Ireland, Germany, and France to increase Catholic voting power and influence American institutions. Well, that's certainly taken place, hasn't it? Chiniquy claimed the Vatican secretly orchestrated the U.S.-American Civil War, portraying it as partly a religious war pushed by Catholic interests. He said they worked behind the scenes in the involvement of President Abraham Lincoln's assassination, suggesting that the assassin, John Wilkes Booth, was part of a Catholic conspiracy and that the Pope was implicated in these political plots. Why would this guy lie? I mean, what purpose would it serve him to lie? Because there's no doubt what he's saying is true, yet back in 1890, it's the same thing today. You're persecuting us. No, I think you persecute everybody else. And then when you're called out on the carpet for it, you claim you're victimizing us. He said that the Catholic clergy is engaged in corrupt practices to advance Vatican influences and control governments and societies beyond religious realms. He saw the Catholic Church's hierarchy structure and its claims to authority as a tool for political and social dominance orchestrated by the Vatican with secrecy and manipulation. There is no doubt to any of this. He said their methods of influence are secretive, manipulative, and coercive. He said the Vatican used immigration, as I said, strategically to flood the U.S. with Catholic immigrants to increase its socio-political power. He alleged that the Church manipulated ethnic and parish loyalties to maintain control over communities, as seen in Chiniquy's own conflicts involving French, Canadian, and Irish Catholics over church property and authority. He said the Vatican exerted control through their hierarchy, authoritarian governance, suppressing dissent, punishing clergy or lay people who challenge its authority. He referred to them as a viper. And prepare yourself, he said this. Described it as a viper that America was nurturing, but that would eventually bite to death the Republic if allowed to continue unchecked. That's a heavy statement to make. I mean, he went on to become a reverend in the Presbyterian Church. I mean, he was even influencing England. He was. This was a letter from 18 late 1800s. Does it say up there? Maybe 1890. It says, dear brother in Christ, 1,000 thanks for your kind letter of the 20th of June. I am so happy to hear from you that there is a beginning of an awakening among the disciples of the gospel in England against Romanism. May the God of the gospel grant that spread through all your grand country. I would have no objections against going again to England if I were invited by some of your public religious bodies who would take the trouble and responsibilities of preparing the meeting in the principal centers of your population. Though I am 81 years of age, my health and strength are as good as when I visited your country in 1882, 1875, and 1860. These last 6 months, I have lectured almost every day in the province of Ontario, Quebec, and in the New England states, and in the great cities of Baltimore, Washington, without feeling any sense of fatigue. If my English friends think that I might help them in the great struggle against the most biggest foe of their rights, liberties, and Christianity, the expression of their desire to see me for a few months in the ranks and files of the soldiers whom the captain of our salvation has enrolled around his armies in England, would be as an order from heaven for me. This is my answer to your friendly question, quote, is there any hope of your visiting England again? Though I would consider an act of folly on my part to offer myself to go again to work in England, I would find myself bound in conscience to accept such an invitation if it were coming from any of your representative Christian bodies. Believe me, your devoted brother in Christ, Chiniquy. So this is somebody that was clearly devoted, but was a priest for 50 years. And exactly what we're facing right now is a result of the power struggle of the Catholic Church. They're the ones that have managed to get so many kids, especially young people in the country, to think that Israel and the Jews are the problem. I think that likely the Jews have helped America more than anybody. I do. And I think that if we stay on this track with these young people, believing this turning point bullshit, and even though everybody wants to say, well, Charlie Kirk wasn't, no, he was on the, no, he was, his last big turning point event, he had Dave Smith on there, he was putting it in the kids' heads. He was, and it was already out there with these other deadbeats like Candace Owens and the other. Although, Candace Owens is revealing stuff, though, about him, even though it's interesting because she's a Catholic. That's where the cause of all of it is. But, they don't want to tell you where he was buried, Kirk. No, she says she knows it was a Catholic cemetery. I'm sure it was. I think he was a Catholic. This is all the Catholics trying to exert their control. And they have had so much trouble. It took them so long because people pushing back on them. And then they finally got Kennedy in. And it's just been like downhill ever since then. Look at how it's out of control. And I don't think anybody knows what to do about it because there's innocent people in it. But then at the same time, that's how that church maintains its dominance. It's like human shields that it wraps around itself. I don't know what the answer is. I think the only answer is pray God comes.